Hello and welcome. My name is Seth. This is Sweet Chariot, and today is a good day. Firstly, because I found some mushroom. This beefsteak mushroom, an old oak woodland, and these guys love a bit of oak, so there's more than this around. I've seen two more. There's got to be more than that. There's got to be loads here. It's a beautiful piece of woodland. Yeah, it's also a good day because I have two bows to show you. Anyone who's familiar? Firstly, hello guys, thank you for subscribing and joining me in this endeavour. And if you haven't, please consider doing so. Man, this stuff is all tangly. Get it off. Yes, an English longbow. I believe I've managed to create. This one's called Merlin. It's a piece of common yew with a birch bark backing. It did come in a little bit under power from what the customer asked me to make. So, to both shore up, well, give me peace of mind about getting this thing to full draw and not exploding, because it's happened 3 times before now, and to try and bring the poundage up, we went for a bit of birch bark backing, and it's good. I love a bit of birch bark. It looks great, and it seems to do the trick, keeping everything from not breaking. Did shoot before I put the birch bark on. This has been sort of a design specification of my own. It's got to work as a bow before you do that. You can't be relying on the birch bark, you know, for structural integrity. You've got to build that into the bow first. You then just use it to shore up, you know, to give it a nice long strong life. I say when you're getting towards 28-inch draw with these, yeah, those imperfections you don't know about can really catch you out. So yeah, I like the birch bark. Yeah, I also like today. Today's been good. So yeah, what's this video? What's I going to call it? What's in a name? What is in a name? Yeah! Of course I'm talking about the name of these bows. Just Molly choking at the top of the hill there. Yeah, naming these bows. I mean, making them, doing the process of foraging the wood and making these bows is one thing. The real finishing touch is when you give it its name. Some of them, well, this one actually had its name like 2 or 3 pieces of wood ago. Did actually almost finish it twice. The third one let up a little bit earlier before I've got the tips and whatnot on. But yeah, the name has been settled for quite a while for this one. Even like the customer asked me, I told him, sorry, I broke Merlin. We're going to start again. He's like, can we keep the name? So absolutely, yes. The name has moved on to the one that actually succeeded. Yeah, I was out walking in the woods and a spitfire flew overhead. So obviously Merlin is the old wizard, you know, in folklore, and probably actual history as well. Probably much further back than we think. I don't know. I'm not a folklorist. I'll get onto my folklorist actually. Story Crow. I'm sure he's done something about Merlin before now. But yeah, I'm talking about the Merlin engine in the Spitfire with this one, which to be fair is probably named after the wizard. But that is sort of a stipulation for naming these bows. These are the oldest bows that we make, the self bow, or the organic composite self bow. We made these before we had complex tools, so they're ancient designs. So I want that incorporated in my bows. Each name has to inspire a little bit of historical thinking, because you know, if there's anything sort of extracurricular to this, it has been a deeper understanding of language. The reason we have, you know, certain words for things like druid and oak, the association there, the spiritual association with yew, and ash, all of them. Hazel's another one. I believe they make divining rods out of hazel. Yeah, every time I picked up a new material or decided to, you know, to do something in regards to archery with the arrows, you know, I haven't even thought about the strings. You will find some history because we've been doing it for so long. We've been doing it for thousands of years. These are, you know, extension of us, I have said before. But yeah, Merlin. We got this is its brace, lovely brace height, just a smidge under 8 inches. I was shooting it earlier and there's no slap whatsoever. I've got a couple of little tickles, but with good technique, good grip, you can get away with it. It's only a lightweight bow, around 25, maybe a shade under 25 pounds. So even if it does hit you, it's not too bad. And most people think that the English longbow is a war bow. That's its most famous application, sort of a 150 pounds, something silly like that. But you can't shoot that for very long unless you've trained your whole life to do it. But what you can do is make a target English longbow. A little bit more powerful than this, sort of like a 40 or 50, 60 pound would be a hunting English longbow. Up around 90 pounds or whatever, that's a warbow English longbow. All longbows are all powered to deliver a slightly different weighted arrow. Simple as that. When you're target shooting, you want to shoot a lot. You want to get a whole bunch of practice in. And you're only hitting a target over there, so you don't need a particularly heavy arrow. If you're trying to pierce armor on a soldier all the way over there, you better be practicing with your 150 pound bows. That's for shooting a 1500 grain arrow. This is a 290 grain arrow, thereabouts. Actually, I think most of them are around 300. I need to take a little bit of weight off them, change the tips up and whatnot. There is a few arrows in this bundle that this bow particularly likes. Let's see if I can find them. There's one it really doesn't. But here we go. Yeah, we shoot off the left. Classic 3-finger, split finger style. So I could do 3 under because I have got a knock set, but I've been shooting it like this, so I'll stay like that. Yeah. Target isn't far away because I don't want to lose my arrows. That's because I want to give them to the customer. What I try and do is make a bow, and then that one's missing. It's not. Make a bow and try and give the customer 3 arrows that work well with it. Why wouldn't you? And a string. This might be the slightly back heavy one. Let's see how it flies. Not too bad. Definitely likes this one. Even though the target is close, well, I can tell you it shoots consistently and accurately, as long as you have consistent arrows. That one's got a little bit of a bend to it. Hazel typically does. These are my homemade Hazel arrows. Let's get another aluminium there. This one here is another one that it likes, I'm pretty sure. Bit of a weird flight on that one. Let's see if I can make sure I get it nice. Where's the sun gone? I need my thumbnail shot of a nice long draw on a sun-dappled English longbow. There we go. That was good. A bit closer to full draw on that. Obviously, the more draw you get out of it, it's got a maximum draw built into it, but the closer you can get to that maximum draw, the more speed you will deliver to your arrow there. We'll see if you've got the correct weighted arrow, which is 10 grains of arrow for every pound of bow. You'll get good arrow speed. You don't need a powerful bow, you need the right weight arrow. You like that arrow a lot. Yeah. I actually Robin Hooded that arrow the other day and just mashed it all back together with super glue, and it works really well. Yeah, Hazel. Oh, sorry, let's finish off that. That's Merlin. And the challenge being with this guy, once we've done all that shooting, how well it returns to its original shape. You'll probably see a little bit of string follow there in this area. The tips might not be quite as recurved, but very slow. It's not much. That is what I call an acceptable amount of string follow for this design, particularly. At least I'm saying that. A better bow builder would do better. I'm sure they exist. I learned the English longbow, and I'm still learning yew bows in general, bow making in general. So to get to this stage where it doesn't fully string follow and just turn into a curved piece of wood, very proud to have reached this stage. Yeah, it gives you consistent shooting. Sorry. If you aren't able to do that, you crush the fibers in the belly of the bow and it doesn't deliver consistent arrow speed. And of course, you're stressing the wood more than needs be, and that's where you're going to end up with breakages. String follow, then it'll break. create your stress areas. Yes, Merlin. I was going to talk about Hazel briefly. My lovely Hazel arrows there. You know, it needs to match to your English longbow. Your string line runs down the middle of the bow here. You've got this big lump of wood here that forces the the arrow has to bend around. It's sort of the magical thing with the English longbow. You shoot the wrong arrow with it, it just won't work at all. It'll kick. Your arrow will fly off wildly, but you just cause that arrow to bend a little bit in the correct place, and all of a sudden you're good. You can also do that by getting to full draw. It's complicated. Tuning arrows to an English longbow is difficult. It has to bend right. I guess you could do it in synthetic materials, but typically speaking, your proper traditional bow is going to need a proper traditional arrow, which I've done with Hazel, which is really good. But what I've also done, thank you Merlin, off to its new owner once I've done a short with it. Yeah. What I've also done with Hazel is my first Hazel bow. I'll unstring this once I've done some shooting with it and show you its original shape. Yeah, it's just a skinny log, this one. Maybe got a bit of ahead of myself. So I want to start chopping into this Hazel. So I took my thinnest one, a nice belly on it. Still giving it the birch bark anyway, because it did actually come in quite light. Only had about 1.5 inches maybe of material to play with. Really not much. Not a very wide limb. So yeah, coming a little bit sort of low on power, but for a thumb draw bow, this is about 25 again. Similar draw weight to this one. 25 pound bow on a thumb draw is absolutely fine. That's really nice. Once again, we're talking a target bow. I don't think they do anything over 35 for thumb draw bows now. I don't know. There's loads of regulations and competition type stuff and industry standards to think about with archery. I heard just the other day, 35 pound is about what you want on your thumb. Any more than that, even with a thumb ring, you're going to cause yourself, repeated use, you're going to start causing yourself trouble in your thumb joint, which is not what you want. So let me grab these arrows out of my bag a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Hazel arrows. Yep. Let's shoot him quick and show him off before I start talking about the name that I'm going to give to this one. Because it's, I said today's a good day, and it has been. It's been lovely. Little patchy bits of rain, which is inspiring the mushroom season. Found some mushrooms, and now I'm here talking to you about longbows in the woods. It is a good day today, but it's followed some not so good days, I think it's fair to say. Put the string on upside down. We can just about get away with it. Yeah, we've had some nasty days. Let's shoot this bow. That was nice. That was really quick. I probably did that because it hasn't fully exercised in. I'm going to lose just a little bit of power through. String follow. That was still good though. Yeah, different to the English longbow, we're shooting off the right hand side. Using our thumb to draw. And we're acting on the bow quite a lot. It's a really fun way to shoot. I'm gonna lie, I love the traditional shooting, but the Asiatic thumb draw has really taken me. It makes a good self bow. You take this entire bow out of a piece of wood, so the middle and the overall construction, there's only so much you can sort of do to it to make sure that it's strong and steady. Like on your English longbow, you wouldn't want to cut an arrow shelf because you've already gone really slim, and then you're going to break the bow if you go too slim in the middle. But this one sort of incorporates a style, which means you don't have to go too slim in the middle. For me, for self bow specifications, it works really well. For the limitations of working with a piece of wood like this design, with the small arrow pass on either side, it's not a shelf, it's a pass, which leaves a real decent amount of material in the middle here. It allows you to go slim, but then you don't have to go too slim because the thumb draw and flick sort of moves the whole thing out the way of the arrow. It's a fun design and a fun technique. This is, I'm sure there's bows like this. I've stolen this handle design from one Asiatic bow. The self-bow longbow has been done for millennia, but sort of put them together like this in this particular package, I'm not sure if it's commonly done. I'd say commercially it's almost definitely not, because to make a self-bow commercially seems like a lot of work. It's not viable, effectively. So yeah, come buy a bow off me, off of this. Because yeah, I realise I'm not going to make any money, but to make some would be cool. So I've got the, no, this one's already sold. This one isn't quite finished yet. Let's see, it needs its name, which I'll talk about in a second. But the ones I have finished are on sellmybow.com, and I've got one up on eBay as well. I'll probably get the other ones up on eBay, but sellmybow.com has been cool. It allows me to make as much money as possible. It's a £1 or £3 listing, and then they don't take any percentage. So yeah, come find me on sellmybow.com. I'll put the link is in my bio, and I'll see if I can put it in the description as well. But yeah, this one is almost done. I can shoot one of my aluminium arrows with this one. As I was saying, these do not bend like Hazel arrows do. They're a little bit heavy for 20 grains, I think. So for a 42 pound bow instead of a 25, 26, 27 pound bow. But you can shoot them because they don't need to bend around the bow. I would not be able to shoot that aluminium arrow well off of that English longbow there. So it's a really cool design, and glad that this piece of Hazel has worked. I mean, it could probably season more. I don't think it's, 2 years. One of my bow maker buddies on YouTube, who I contacted, said he left his Hazel for. It looked extremely good, his Hazel bow. God damn it, what's his name? I think it's the fellow whose name I can't pronounce. It's spelled something like Mejak, something along those lines. I said to him, mate, you've got to train me how to pronounce that. He said, yeah, it's difficult. So no, I won't try. I'll maybe link him in the description if I remember. But there's another bow builder who was working with Hazel, and it looked fantastic. I think that's his YouTube name. Never mind. I'm sorry, mate. I'm real sorry. I'll set that straight in the description of the comments or whatever. But yeah, this one has not been down for 2 years. I can say that much. Maybe 10 months, 11 months, something like that. It's a small piece of wood. It's a slim piece of wood, so it would dry quicker than a proper log. And it's heat treated it as I've gone. So I did notice it was string following, but the heat seems to have force dried it. So it could still go up in power. And of course we could add more birch bark. But yeah, as we've been as I started shooting that, then I said today's a good day. We followed some rubbish days, and the way that I've named these bows before was sort of as I'm inspired, as I'm making the thing, something I'm thinking about or something that happens, try and link it to that. So as well as having this thing that I've carved, I can sort of associate the time. If I ever see the bow again, see the name again, the name will take me back to the time when I was making it. Yeah, as well as trying to inspire a little bit of historical thinking. But of course, excuse me, what has happened during the making of this bow is a lovely young father was executed, assassinated in front of an entire college campus and on camera, and less well known, I think, because normally this is a bit of ire here, but normally the press would go head over heels for an attractive young woman being murdered, attractive young white woman being murdered particularly. But very little coverage of Irina, a Ukrainian refugee in the States who was attacked, brutally, horribly attacked. It's so nasty. Yeah, these two have really stuck with me over these last few days, and I would like to memorialise that with the name of this bow. Well, yeah, you can talk about Charlie Kirk quick. The man was never violent, but he was still a soldier, he was still a warrior for what he believed in, for his faith. I don't care if you side of the political spectrum you fall on, wherever you are, you have to respect the virtue. A man who stands by his code. And if you see any of the things he ever did, all he ever did was have a conversation. He put forward his point of view, and welcomed you to beat it. And as an intelligent person, you know that he would take that in and change his mind. And this was a person who was starting to have major influence over the young people of today, which is influence over the future. Yeah, I mean, as English people, I think we're a bit twisted because our conservative and our liberal parties aren't that. They pretend to be, but they're just not. So it doesn't really correspond. Where we're talking about true conservatism, I mean, my liberals should join me here. Is this not something we need to conserve? Is conservatism not something that needs to exist in your psyche? I put it to you. But anyway, however you feel about him, the man was brutally cut down. As was Irina. Yeah, and the reason her murder really stuck out to me was, well, firstly, she was a refugee from Ukraine, fleeing a horrible, senseless, pointless, bloody conflict. The amount of lives. Yeah, that's something else. Yeah, she was able to flee it. And her fight was living a normal life, and it seemed as though she was doing that. And so what really stuck out to me was she was on her way to a subway job and studying to be a nurse, I believe. I might have heard that wrong, but she was trying. She was fighting. And I say I'm a person who has been lazy and entitled and wasted opportunities, wasted life, and I highly respected that when I heard that about her. It makes it very sad. There's people up there with a dog. I hope mine's okay. Yeah, that really stuck with me, as it should with other people, and it got suppressed. That story of Irina, it didn't fit a certain narrative for some reason, so it wasn't talked about much. So yeah, I hope you now find. Well, I think it has all now come out. Anyone who didn't know who Charlie Kirk is in England, they probably do now. This one is significant, and alongside Irina's murder, this feels big. This feels big to me. But like I say, I wanted to memorialise this time in a name for this bow. And I was thinking along the lines of courage and bravery, but another word stuck out to me, which is something the Americans will chime with, which is valor. And like I said, I'm not a historian. I'm not an English major, anything like that. I have a vague interest and appreciation for these things. So I looked up just briefly. Valor in Nordic was VALR. I guess the easiest way to sort of pick it apart is look at the other words that it's associated with. Valhalla would be one. And it's all about that honor in falling righteously. The Valkyries would scoop up the worthy warriors and take them to Valhalla. So Charlie Kirk's a deeply Christian man, but I'm sure he'd appreciate the pre-Christian faiths and sort of their interpretation of spirituality. I don't know. I can't help but draw that comparison between the winged female warriors of Valhalla and the concept of angels. But there you go. That's valor was a word that stood out to me. These were two people who fell fighting in a particular way, not violently. They weren't being violent. They weren't fighting with violence. They were fighting with goodness, with good actions. Going to work and studying in spite of having been driven from your home, and standing up in front of crowds of people who hate you, knowing that Charlie Kirk definitely experienced violence before, but I think with your folks over there is a constant threat that someone could decide to use a high-powered rifle and do the unthinkable, do the unchangeable. No coming back from that. It feels like it's resonated in a big way. So this one, in the name of valor, in the respect and the remembrance of where our word valor came from. This one's called Valkyrie. So I hope that will now remind me of how I felt during this time, because it's easy to move on and forget let things disappear. Not now. If I made a bow that lasts, that name will last with it. Yeah, Valkyrie. Should we shoot it one more time? Oh, my leg's gone dead. Valkyrie and Merlin. Just in those two words, you can dive. You can open up a door into a world that used to exist. The world that we came from. Be it your language, or your skin colour, or your values. We've been here for a very long time, being human beings, being humans, wrestling with this challenge. And it's a challenge, it's a fight. Like that arrow, that went straight through the bag. Yeah, magical Hazel. Let's see. Once again, not a folklorist. If you want a folklorist, you go to Story Crow. He's my go-to guy. Hazel is another magical sort of wood. There is one right there, and there's another one right there. They're abundant. They live between your yew trees, and they thrive in low light conditions and live underneath all the other trees. They have to make do. And we used to make everything out of hazel. Your coppices is where you'd force grow that they like being chopped back. They're extremely hardy to being pruned, and they like it. It extends their life. I say they grow nice straight arrow shoots, and then those arrow shoots turn into nice straight logs. So there's a bit of string follow still on this one. It's still an acceptable amount for me for a long draw, thumb draw bow. So it's nice. It is nice to learn how to make a bow out of a much more sustainable material. Yew is slow growing, old and precious, and hazel is it's a bow making material factory. It's like it was made for it, and it wants you to do it. Come and take the wood, and I'll grow some more. Yeah. Sorry if I'm too much of a hippie. But it's how we existed here. We've figured out a new way to exist here, but we're seeing the damage that does. There is a teaspoon of plastic in your brain. And I don't mean a teaspoon measurement, I mean enough plastic to make a teaspoon in your brain. And we used to do it all without plastic. Yes, it was a challenge. Yes, yeah, it was a big challenge. But there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off with being human, and we have forgotten it. We've beaten it. We've beaten nature, and we do that at our peril. Yeah, you can put your hopes on Elon Musk getting us off the planet, but yeah, if we destroy it before he does that, been nice knowing you. So yeah, what's the overall point of this? Be good. Appreciate what we have. Don't take a rifle and open up on people that you disagree with. It's opinions. It's literally just words. And I'm sat in a country where the freedom of speech is being very quickly eroded. Yeah. Like I say, you don't have to fight with violence. We fight in a different way. And we've just lost two people who were absolute ambassadors of doing just that. Yeah. Thanks very much, everyone, coming in and seeing my bows. Yeah, I hope I didn't go off on too much of a tangent there, but there is something deep here that I'm trying to, well, treat my own trauma, treat my own issues with, and I hope I'm explaining it right. Yeah, it's easy to ignore these issues in the world. Put your head in the sand, just resort to the consumerism and the shallow thinking that we've got used to and that we seem to worship. Or we can take up a challenge and conserve the things that brought us here, that we've relied on for so long. Yeah. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one. I've got to figure out what else to do. I've put so much brain power into getting this one done, getting the English longbow done. What next? Anyone got any suggestions? Please let me know. Oh yeah, and come buy a bow on sellmybow.com. I can't make another Maruki until someone comes and buys my Maruki. Dinner tonight. Oh no, I can't tonight. Tomorrow, I've got to soak it in milk first. Dinner tomorrow. Let's go find some other mushrooms. Oh, we got a minute. And then I got to do some van work. So thanks again, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.